Honestly, can't even believe that I'm here. I'm typically able to keep it together and hold things down. It's actually kind of embarrassing. You see, I honestly don't think I fit the mold of someone who needs therapy, but my job required me to attend at least 5 therapy sessions before returning back to work. I excelled through grade school and graduated at the top of my class. As I've told you before, I'm not your typical client. I like to think of my clients as family. I want what's best for them just like I'd want for my family. My firm has never had any concern regarding my passion, until recently when I had one of my toughest cases, which is why I'm here having these sessions with you. You see, I had a breakdown. A breakdown. That doesn't even sound right coming from my lips. I've always been able to separate emotion from the job. This was one of the most troubling cases I've ever had. It involved a middle-class African-American family, and the couple had 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. The youngest son, Kevin, is the reason they came to my office. He's 8 years old. The family was pressing sexual abuse charges against their pastor, his wife, and their 26-year-old son, Larry, as well as his wife. Kevin was sexually abused by Larry during Sunday school, vacation Bible school, church summer camps, and any other time they were left alone. On one particular occasion, Larry's mother walked in and witnessed the abuse. She ran to the pastor and they agreed to keep silent on the issue, and they didn't want that to affect the image of the church. Kevin's mother heard him just crying uncontrollably one night. She went in to check on him, and that's when he revealed everything that had happened. She remained calm, then she ran to her husband. Her husband cursed and screamed, "I'm going to kill that man!" She calmed him down and convinced him to handle things appropriately. That next morning, they both talked to Kevin, and he revealed when everything had happened and what had happened and why he didn't say anything. When they approached Larry and his family, they all denied everything, which is why they came to my office. Kevin had to share his story again, and this time it was recorded. To my surprise, the question and answer session went well. I was so impressed with this young man. He was not afraid to tell his story. He even said, "I don't want to get Mr. Larry in trouble. He's a nice Sunday school teacher." The bravery of this young child. At 8 years old, he was able to handle a traumatic situation better than some adults. I ended the session with his family, and I informed them that I'd be doing a follow-up with Larry's attorney. As I walked them out the office, I walked back to my office in tears. How could someone do something like that to an 8-year-old kid? How morally wrong of the pastor to cover up the behavior of his son while a child is suffering. On my way home, all I could think about was the hurt in Kevin's eyes as he told his story. I had several drinks that night to cover up the anger and the pain I felt for this man, and how he had just tore his life all upside down. The next morning, I attempted to work on Kevin's case at work. But the more I wrote, the angrier I got. And before I knew it, I was screaming and throwing things across the office and turned the desk over. My office mates came in, they tried to calm me down, and I just got louder. I just screamed, "Why? He was just a kid." He was just a kid. They tried to calm me down some more. I just kept kicking and punching holes in the wall, and eventually they called security to de-escalate the problem. And once I calmed down, my boss called me into his office. Said, "What's going on?" I informed him that my recently assigned case of an 8-year-old kid being sexually abused had frustrated me. He informed me that I couldn't come back to work until I had a psychological evaluation and counseling, which is why I'm here. I had a break. You see, Kevin's case had triggered me and triggered events that I had dealt with in my childhood. I was Kevin from 6 years old up until I was 14. Nobody rescued me. I had to rescue myself. Nobody knew my childhood trauma. For 35 years, I kept this dark secret. I never told anyone. I never told my mother, my wife, or any of my friends. But I was mad at them. I was mad at them because I felt like they should have known. Unlike Kevin, it was my mother's brother, an older female cousin, and a man in the community. During my teenage years, I used women just for sex. Throughout college, I was very promiscuous with older women just to prove that I was a man. Even in my marriage, my manhood was still suffered because I felt like I had lost that at 6 years old. I I have to have sex with my wife multiple times a week, multiple times a week, just to prove that I'm a man to myself. Hell, I've had multiple affairs with women just to say that I'm a man. My kids. I'm, I'm overprotective of my kids, and I won't let them be kids because of my fear. I wasn't ready for a case like Kevin's. It opened wounds, and I had them hidden, and I wasn't ready to deal with them. I was angry. But not at Kevin's story, but I was angry because at 8 years old, he had the strength and the courage that me being 41 didn't have to tell my story.
Cut. Everybody take a deep breath.
The tales,
Everybody okay?
tales. As a black man, I feel that it's important because we always feel that we have to be strong for everyone else. And any sign of emotion, whether it be crying or sadness, is a sign of weakness. And so we go through that holding everything in until we explode. So therapy is important because it helps to get us that release that we need and to talk about the things that we've had pent up inside of us for so long. It kind of helps us to not explode. As an attorney, we deal with all kinds of trauma, from domestic violence to people being shot and killed in the community, right in front of families, right in front of kids, children. And it's important that we deal with this as a community, because if we don't, it'll just be a repetitive cycle. Yeah. It's important to learn about trauma in the community, because simply we're all a community. And the advice that I would give to people in the community is that they need to seek help, they need to get therapy. Because you can only be your best self, you can only do the best job in whatever career that you have, whether you be a baker, a lawyer, a doctor, a scientist. If you still have trauma that you're dealing with from your childhood or from just maybe a few years ago, you're never going to be your best self unless you get that taken care of. So you have to talk about that. You can't just hold things in, and people have the tendency to hold things in that they don't want to talk about because they feel that they can just make it on their own, that they don't talk about it and just repress everything. And it's important that you seek professional help, not just your best friend or a journal. Those things are good, but you have to seek professional help to actually help you get through those problems and to really dig deep.